women are participating in a big way.
Great. I think there's a question of, again, absorption of large numbers. I think we're talking about 20, 30,000, outcome from universities, both in input sector and process sector, as we go. But it also enlarges itself. I mean, it's always a challenge to find.
Recently, one of the study was taken up by the National Academy of Agriculture Research Management, and they have identified the need for developing this type of programs. So far, our agriculture universities, not to be blamed for that any reason outside that, because their focus has been on higher agriculture education, and it was the formal education we were focusing on. But realizing the need for the paraprofessionals or these skills in the agriculture sector, as I mentioned yesterday also, we are now thinking of how to start these vocational programs, skill development programs, certificate diploma programs. These programs are not new either. I know that in many states, particularly in Maharashtra, with each of the agriculture universities, there are 5 to 10 or even more agricultural schools attached with them. So these types of things, they are not new. But we are, from the side of ICR, trying to institutionalize these things because so far we have been discussing only the higher agricultural education. But now we have never touched this diploma and certificate program. Now in the accreditation process we have taken up. But I can tell you with a lot of confidence that most of the agriculture universities, through directly their own structured program or through the Krishi Vigyan Kendras, they are having many such programs already going on. About the technical and skill education, higher education, you have mentioned that we are already, in fact, like to share that this is the first time, and probably India will be amongst the very few countries, or if I am not wrong, the first country to have a committee who is going to discuss the policy of higher agriculture education in the country. So that committee has recently been constituted under chairmanship of Dr. Punjab Singh, who was former Director General of Indian Council of Agriculture Research and subsequently the Vice Chancellor. He is now former Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University. When this AIP was signed, probably he was the Vice Chancellor of that university. So we are working on all these policy decisions. Another very precise question was asked by my African colleagues that we have been discussing about the industry attachment of students. His question was, in the situations where the students' number is too big, whether the industry is able to have that large number of students accommodated in the industry for the training purpose or for the attachment purpose. So this is a question he directly asked to the industry. I think may not be answered at this stage, but let me share what we have been contemplating in ICR, that we will divide the batches of students. Like we will have, suppose our intake capacity or our number of students in a particular batch is about 100. We will divide them into 4 or 5 batches, and that already we are doing because the industry attachment is already a part of our curriculum here. And we divide our students into different batches and attach them for depending upon the availability of facility from the industry to the different industries. They are not rotated, but at least the students, they get exposure to the industry environment and how the industries they work, and at least the hands-on experience also. So that is there, and I like to share that some of the industries, it's not that most of our agriculture universities, we don't have the exact figures, but they have developed some sort of MOU with 1 or 2 industries also. For example, jam irrigation. They have now developed MOUs with about 30-32 agriculture universities. They take the students Professor Ramasamy can tell us about Tamil Nadu Agriculture University also. So I know that you have done some,
yes.
And then from US, Bangalore also. This type of attachments, there have been some MOUs have been done. And Jain irrigation, after training those students in their Aurangabad this establishment, they absorb the students also. That type of process we have started, and we will welcome further discussions with the people about industry attachment. One was about the partnership. I think I need not to discuss more about that. So please, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. That's very elaborate and appreciated. Subir, you had a comment to talk about the placements in TNAU.
Just I will before the technicians, people who are going to the field to give cutting units, they are not familiar with kind of some knowledge of sugarcane production. So with Sugarcane Breeding Institute in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, we contacted many of the sugar factories, including in North India. So they were given training. The theoretical knowledge is given by our faculty from the research stations closer to the sugarcane factories, and then they are given hands-on training also. So that way it goes on for 6 months. They meet monthly, twice in the sugarcane centers or the university research centers. That way, at the end of the training, they are given the certificate by the university. So this we did with seed production with Ramasamy seeds, and then some other industry also. Like in the case of the food processing also, we opened up the testing facility, and entrepreneurs came there and tested their products, and now they have gone up to having this people they can come and stay there for 6 months, visit and work with the processors, they develop products. So that way more than 20 products in the food processing have been done, and the people are even exporting to places like Malaysia. So similarly, the input dealers like pesticide dealers, fertilizer dealers, they were not having good technical knowledge. So what we have done, we offered 1-year diploma course to them, and they come once in a month to the university, and then rest we send through these printed materials by post. So that way we also tied that up with Manage. So they have done in Andhra Pradesh. So that was successful for some time. Up now it is discontinued. So that way what we have done there, use the digital education as a mode. Say somebody want to get training in organic farming. So we arrange with our research stations, they come and attend. So that way many of the industries have been benefited. I think that should be continue.
I think it's got the same to command. I would look at, in fact, as the important question is raised, how about some cross-country internships? African comes to India and get exposure to the way problems are addressed here, and Indians go to Africa. Cornell and other international institutions have encouraged students to get international experience as a very valuable internship process. I think understanding problems at both ends would also be very valuable to gain very good exposure to some of the common issues impacting agriculture and food industry there. Go on.
I have a quick comment. I connect on between industry needs and some of the trainings of the product we produce from the universities. And one thing we can notice here that there are reps from the industries who can come and talk to the university professors and voice their concerns. And when we talk about the small and limited resource producers, I do not see any of that representation here. And I think if we want to create some curriculum for small producers or limited resource producers, I think it's very important that we bring them on board, bring their input so that we can address their needs properly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we all believe in that we have a number of pathways. Thank you very much for all of you to exploring and contributing to those pathways to be kind of crystallized further Thank you all. Thank you very much. It's 5 p.m. And thanks to all of the panelists here. Thanks to all of you for active participation. Thank you very much.